Hey babes, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. I am Jay. So in today's video, this is just my everyday makeup routine, a little get ready with me, because I noticed that I got a bunch of new subscribers. Thank you. So I just wanted to show you guys my everyday makeup routine. So without further ado, let's just skip the chit chat and get right into it. So my first step in my everyday makeup routine is my NYX brow pen. Okay, I love a brow pen. I gave up on the pomades and I gave up on the pencils. A good brow pen, and you do these like little hair like strokes. I find that is the best routine for me. I'm not changing it, never, unless they come out with some, I don't know, some other product. This works best for me. I first started using one. I was using my Frida Kahlo pen. If you're one of my returning bays, and you know. But ever since I started using that pen, I just love a good brow pen. As you can see, it gives you the perfect, look at that, that looks like hair. That does not look like I even filled in my brows with anything. It gives you the perfect natural brow look. Next step in my everyday makeup routine is taking my Too Faced concealer, my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, excuse me, along with either an angle brush or a flat concealer brush. But lately I've been using an eyeliner brush. Why? I don't know. I just feel like it gets it very precise, that perfect angle. It just gets it right up under the brow and around the brow. Anyway, I take that brush, I take my concealer, and this is what I clean up my brows with. I like a light concealer. I know that some people like to have one that matches the skin to go on their brows with. When I'm going under the eyebrow, I like to use a light concealer. And if I am going on top of the eyebrow and I am using that same concealer, then I won't go to the extreme. And y'all know exactly what I mean when I say go to the extreme. Y'all know those makeup artists that take the top brow concealer and like really carve the top of the eyebrow, their whole forehead. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. The whole forehead is carved. You see that little line that I made over my eyebrow? That's it. For me, this is my everyday makeup routine. This is my get ready with me. This is what I need on top of my eyebrows. That's it, and that's all. If you do choose to do that eyebrow look to the point where you carve out the whole entire brow, the forehead part, please use a darker concealer. A lighter concealer is okay for under the eyebrow and only going around the surface. So you see how I blended that top concealer out on top of my eyebrow, and you see how it blends nicely, and you can't really tell due to the fact that I've used a little bit. But if I were to use like the same amount that I use under the brow, you see how you could tell it's very highlighted. That is okay for under the brow. When you're going on top of the brow, use a concealer that's closer to your skin complexion if you're gonna do that heavy highlight above your eyebrow. Again, nothing wrong with it, just don't use a lighter one, because when you put down your makeup, your whole forehead's gonna be like, okay. Anyway, yes, this is another step in my routine. I go ahead, carve out my eyebrows. As you can see here, I'm patting that into place with a flat brush. Remember I said I either use a flat brush or I use an angle brush. I really use an angle brush to lay down the concealer and carve out the eyebrows, and then I'll use a flat brush or a fluffy eyeshadow brush to go ahead and blend that out. Next is prime time, okay, and I use two primers. I use my Milk primer along with my One Size primer. The reason why I'm pointing to these areas is because I take my One Size primer and I only apply it in those areas, which are my T-zone areas. If you don't know what my T-zone is, it is your most oiliest, if oiliest is a word. It is a zone on your face that has the most oil, so I use that One Size primer to go ahead and secure my sweat and keep my makeup in all day. So here I'm just patting my Milk primer into place, and then with the One Size primer, that's not a primer that you just take and slap it on, okay? First of all, if you're going to use more than one primer, you have to make sure that they are of the same base. What I mean by that is they both have to be silicone based or they both have to be water based. You cannot, I never even checked to see if these match each other. Anyway, yes, you want to use silicone products with silicone products and water based products with water based products, okay? So back to the One Size primer. What you want to do is take that primer, warm it up in your fingers, then pat it into place, and then give it a minute to, you know, do its thing, and then you apply your makeup on top of it, okay? Don't just go straight in with that. Dun dun dun. Next is my infamous makeup step, which is my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color white. And I say infamous because I know that there are people watching it's like, oh my god, did she just go in with a white concealer like all over her eye and under her eye? Yes, I did. Yes, I love a heavy highlight. I do have a problem with a loss of fat under my eye, so this is my way of pumping up my skin and giving it that illusion that under my eye is nice and flat. This might not work for you. This works for me. Again, this is my everyday makeup routine. No, when I do my makeup, I do not have flashback or anything like that. Like, my concealer and my foundation does this thing on top of this, so I don't have those problems. Okay, so I say infamous because it is famous for a bad reason, because I know white concealer is like, oh, you're using that? Listen, it works. Okay, trust the process. Anyway, I'm taking my blending sponge and I'm blending that all around my eyes. Next step is the love of my life, okay? One of my favorite beauty faves, which is the Urban Decay Face Bomb Foundation. I fell in love with that foundation, okay? It changed the game for me. I don't know the last time I used like a full coverage thick foundation. This one has done it for me. It's lightweight. Like, it literally tells you that it's a featherweight foundation. But the coverage, you see that? Where did my acne scars go? It just left the scenery. The only thing I do add to this is it is winter time, so I'm about 1 to 2 shades lighter right now, so I do add a little bit of yellow LA Girl Pro like color correcting serum to that, or I add a little bit of concealer just to lighten it up a bit, because I don't feel like going to buy another one right now. I could just lighten up the one that I have. So that is the only thing I add to it. Other than that, it is truly featherweight, okay? And what I like to do, I used to go in with a sponge, but now I fell in love with blending out my foundation with a foundation brush or even a powder brush. What? A powder brush? Yes. Blending your foundation out with a powder brush. This is a foundation brush, but even like a fluffy powder brush, and you just like lightly tapping it and having less control on the brush. What I mean by less control is putting your hand lower on the brush. Listen, I'm gonna have a subscription, guys, and I'm going to break down makeup. When I say break it down, these tutorials are like very cute and fun that I do, and you learn a little bit, but my YouTube subscription is going to be, I mean, breaking down makeup to the T, okay? Like, literally, you don't know nothing about makeup. You don't know a stippling brush from an angle brush. You don't know what foundation concealer is. I'm going to break it down in my subscription, okay? So stay tuned for that. Anyway, yes, blending out my makeup with a foundation brush and having my hand lower on the brush. That is how you get that airbrush filtered effect. Next step, I'm taking that same concealer, my Born This Way concealer, and this is what I use to highlight the high points of my face. Now, I am somebody who still uses a triangle method. What I do is I use a triangle method, and then that new highlighter method, what I would do is take a lighter concealer or just add a little bit of my white concealer to this concealer right here, and then I will use that newer highlighter method where you put it in the corner of your eyes. So I do use both highlighter methods, and it works wonders for me. Now I truly know what it means to love something until the end of time, okay? These are the Real Technique concealer brushes, and this one right here, this flat brush that I'm patting my concealer into place with, oh my gosh, it is the perfect, I say this about a lot of stuff, but this is the perfect concealer brush, especially when you are blending out that highlight right underneath your eyes. Do you see that? Do you see how perfectly that is blending into place? None of the product is being wasted or anything. How I still love my brush, okay? I mean, I still love my blending sponge. However, I did this one makeup routine. I mentioned this before. I did this one makeup routine, right? And I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do in this makeup routine? Like, I have to know exactly what I did to make it come out like this, and I still haven't told my babes which one it is, but I fell in love with it. So I have been trying to do the exact steps that I did in that makeup routine so my makeup could always look like that, because it was fire. And one of the things that I did was I used a concealer brush instead of using my beauty blender / makeup sponge, and I still go in with it. What I'll do right here is I'll blend in my makeup with a sponge, and then I will take I blend my makeup with my brush. I'm getting overexcited right now. I blend my makeup with my brush, and then I will take my sponge after this just to soak up any extra product and really make sure that everything is blended out good or whatever. But yes, I love this. Okay, I did this in a makeup routine before, and I was like, oh my god, I need to know exactly what I did. And one of the things I did was blend out my highlighter with a concealer brush. So I use this brush to blend out the heavy concealer, and then remember how I mentioned how I go in with the newer highlighting method after. That smaller concealer brush is what I use the newer highlighting method for. That's what I use that brush for. I didn't even know that I had recorded it, but here it is. This is exactly what I mean. So I'm taking that second brush, and as you can see, I took a little bit of that white concealer, and this is what I mean by that newer highlighting method. Is this not what all the girlies are doing, putting a little bit concealer in the corner of the eye, on each end of the eye, and then blend it out? It's cute or whatever, but I still need my triangles. Anyway, yes, I take that, okay, that little small brush. As you can see, I take the smaller brush. Why? Because I have to get into more of a precise area, right? The corners and crevices, it requires a smaller brush. So this smaller concealer brush is perfect. Even though I believe that it should be kind of angled like the first one, it still is perfect and it gets the job done. Next step is another one of my beauty faves, which is my She Glam liquid bronzer. I have slept on this bronzer for such a long time, but I love it, guys. This is like the perfect bronzer. I use it in all my videos ever since I discovered it and opened it. It is perfect. It is a perfect chocolate brown for my skin tone. I love it. Next, I am taking my Laura Mercier setting powder. Now, just like my highlighting method, y'all, I go in with a white powder and a yellow powder. What I do is I take my yellow powder, I lay that down first, and it's 9 times out of 10 Laura Mercier, but it could be sometimes Huda Beauty, or it could be Fenty, or it could be one size. Either way, I take a yellow powder and I lay that down. And then same thing I did with that white concealer is the same thing I do with my white setting powder. After I let that yellow powder set, I will take a white setting powder and I will place that very high underneath the eye, not on the entire triangle, again, just underneath the eye. And I like to go ahead and do that with a blending sponge. And right here you can see exactly what I mean. I'm taking my white powder, and as you can see, I'm being very careful as to where I place it because I want that to be right directly under the eye to give me that nice highlight. And then, even though I already bronze on my liquid bronzer, I like to go in with a powder bronzer, and the powder bronzer that I use is from Fenty. I have not used another powder bronzer since. I love this one. And this video is pre-recorded, right, from like 2 weeks ago. We are going to skip this part, okay? Some of the things that the girlies are doing, and I say this all the time, but somehow I still do it, it's just not going to be your cup of tea. Like, this highlighted nose method is not meant for me. So what it is they said to contour down your nose first before you highlight. They said, oh, don't, like contour and then highlight. Like, contour first and then put the highlight over. Long story short, it ain't working for me. As you can see, like, every time I do it, it just doesn't look blended. So just don't even pay attention to that. This is my last time ever doing this. I haven't done this since, and I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, set my face with my Urban Decay setting spray. I like to fan my face with whatever's next to me. Okay, and yeah, added my wing liner, my lashes, and my lip gloss. And boom, here is my final product. Here is my finished results. And would y'all believe me if I said this was like 10 hours later? Okay, this is a real get ready with me. I was really getting ready to go out somewhere. That little mark under my eye, I did tear up a little bit, but look, this is like hours later. Okay, the primers on top of my method, on top of my setting spray, it really makes my makeup last. Okay, as you can see, like, this is like a fresh face. It doesn't even look like it's hours later. Okay, so that is it for this video, babes. Like I always say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you get notified every single time that I upload. Also, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Jaiye Pierre and on TikTok at Jaiye Pierre _. If for some reason you don't have TikTok or Instagram, I'm going to leave a list right here on the screen of every single social media platform that I have. Make sure you guys go ahead and follow me each one that you have, and I will check you guys in my next video. Okay, love you, babes. Bye.